Courtroom was unusually quiet for a Tuesday morning. Sunlight streamed through the tall windows, casting sharp shadows across the polished wooden floors. Every seat was filled, and a low murmur ran through the audience as they whispered speculations. Today was not just another routine case. It was a case that had everyone on edge, a story that seemed almost unreal. Maria Thompson, a young mother of 23, stood at the plaintiff's table holding a baby tightly against her chest. The child, swaddled in a blue blanket, had bright green eyes that seemed to glow under the courtroom lights. Maria's hands trembled, and her lips were pressed into a thin line, trying desperately to hold herself together. Across the room, Liam Parker, 27, the defendant, sat with his arms folded and a stern expression. His jaw was tight, and a cold glare fixed on Maria, as if daring her to lie. The judge entered the courtroom, her presence commanding immediate silence. She adjusted her glasses and looked over the room, her sharp eyes scanning every face. Maria could feel her gaze, heavy and unyielding, as if the judge could see straight into her soul. Liam shifted slightly in his chair, smirking, confident that he held the upper hand. The air was tense, thick with anticipation. The judge finally spoke, her voice calm but firm. "Ms. Thompson, you filed this case claiming that Mr. Parker abandoned you and your newborn son. Mr. Parker contends, however, that this child is not yours. Please explain yourself." Maria swallowed hard, her throat dry. "Your Honor, I didn't want it to come to this, but he refuses to discuss anything privately. He claims the baby isn't his, and now he's saying it isn't even mine." Her voice cracked, and tears began to form at the corners of her eyes. A collective gasp ran through the courtroom. Liam leaned forward, his smirk growing. "That's because it is true," he said, his voice steady and accusing. "This baby is not hers." The judge leaned forward slightly, tapping her pen against the bench. "According to the hospital record submitted by Mr. Parker, there is no record of Ms. Thompson giving birth at the claimed hospital on the stated date. Can you explain that?" Maria's face drained of color, and her hands tightened around the blanket. That can't be right," she whispered. The room held its breath, every eye fixed on her. Liam's confidence grew as he added, "She came to my door with someone else's baby, Your Honor. Look at him. Do you honestly think this child resembles her?" The baby's features were indeed striking green eyes, unlike Maria's brown, pale skin instead of her light tan. But the judge's eyes narrowed, sensing that there was more beneath the surface. "Miss Thompson," she said softly, yet with authority, "are you hiding something from this court?" Maria shook her head violently. "No, I swear I'm telling the truth," she stammered. She looked down at the baby, heart racing. I couldn't lose him." Suddenly, a woman in the back of the courtroom stood up, her voice trembling with desperation. "That's my baby," she cried. Gasps erupted from every corner. The bailiff rushed forward to calm the situation, but the woman pushed past him, tears streaming down her face. "I gave birth 2 months ago. They told me my baby died. But this is him." She pointed directly at the child in Maria's arms. The courtroom erupted into chaos. Maria dropped to her knees, holding the baby closer, tears flowing freely now. "Your Honor, I didn't steal him. I swear I didn't," she pleaded. The judge slammed her gavel repeatedly, demanding order. Enough. "Order in my court." The courtroom fell silent almost immediately, every head turning toward the judge. "Ms. Thompson," the judge said, her voice softer but insistent, "explain the situation fully. Leave nothing out." Maria drew in a shaky breath, trying to compose herself. "Your Honor, I gave birth the same night as this woman. The nurse told me my baby had died. But then she brought me this child. She said it was the only way to save me from grief, to let me have a baby. I didn't know it wasn't mine. I thought it was a miracle." The judge's expression was unreadable, but her eyes betrayed concern and disbelief. Liam's smug confidence vanished as he realized the complexity of the situation. The real mother was sobbing, pointing at Maria while holding back her sobs. "She took him, my baby. They lied to me about his death," she cried. Maria looked down, tears streaming, feeling the weight of a truth she hadn't known until now. The judge leaned back slightly, the gavel resting in her hand, contemplating the next step. Bailiff retrieved the hospital records immediately. This is no longer just a custody dispute. This is a criminal investigation. Asterisk, the audience murmured, the tension thick enough to cut with a knife. Maria held the baby tightly, whispering softly, I never meant for this to happen. I couldn't lose him again. The judge nodded slightly, acknowledging the young mother's words. Liam sat back, defeated, realizing that the courtroom had shifted entirely against him. The real mother collapsed into a chair, exhausted and grief-stricken. Finally holding the truth she had been denied for 2 long months. Asterisk, witnesses were called. Medical records verified, and slowly the picture emerged. The babies had been switched in the hospital. A tragic mistake compounded by lies and deception. The nurse involved would later face serious legal consequences. But for now, the courtroom absorbed the emotional impact of the revelation. The baby, too young to understand, slept peacefully in Maria's arms, unaware of the drama unfolding around him. The judge, experienced and stern, looked at both women with compassion. This case reminds us all of the fragility of trust and the value of truth, she said. Let this court be a reminder that mistakes can have life-altering consequences, and justice must be served carefully and thoroughly. Asterisk, by the end of the day, the courtroom had settled, the tension easing slightly. But the story of the switched babies would linger in the minds of everyone present. Maria would remain a loving guardian to the child she had cared for, while the real mother would finally begin her journey to reclaim her son. Liam Parker would leave the courtroom humbled, confronted with a reality far beyond his control, and the judge, as always, ensured that justice, compassion, and truth prevailed. Leaving the courtroom with a lesson none would forget, asterisk, the story ended not with a simple verdict, but with the reminder that life is unpredictable, and the line between grief and joy, lies and truth is often thinner than we realize. Each character left changed, each heart touched by the events of that day, each mind reflecting on how a single mistake could ripple through lives, leaving a mixture of sorrow, relief, and awe at the power of truth finally revealed.